Makes a great little mirror. Huh. Ignacio Rodriguez, can you hear me? It is Ignacio Rodriguez. Hmm. There's probably, 4 or 5 intelligence agents in here too. And it's probably not accessible by a huge swath of people who the censors, do not want me to communicate with over the so-called Gutenberg press. Anyway, since somebody's here, I shall present what I'm working on. Hopefully it's not backward. Know what that is? That's an initial analysis of the idea that happiness of the greatest degree of the greatest number constitutes the reason for considering an action to be better. And the best action is the one that produces the greatest happiness for the greatest number of people. So I took 3 people and gave them a happiness scale of 1 to 10 and began an analysis of how that could make any sense or how it could possibly be broken as an idea. Uh-oh. It was just a problem in a section of a logic textbook I'm working through, doing all the problems in it. And it just had to be formulated in logical terms. And it turns out the problem with the idea is also a problem found in trying to express it in logical terms. Because the greatest number of people or the greatest happiness, which one? And what does that mean? If 2 people are happy at a level of 3 and the third one is happy at a level of 2, that gives you a total happiness of 8, and 2 are happier than the third one. But if something happens with the other decision, the other action makes the first 2 happy at a level of 2, and the third one at a happiness level 5, then that gives you total happiness of 9, but 2/3 are less happy. So which is the better action? Which produces more happiness or happiness for the greater number? Obviously, a 10-10-10 decision would be better than a 1-1-1 decision, but it rarely works out that way. So, yeah, well, just give it the best shot I can. The principle of charity requires we give an argument or an idea the best effort to understand it and make it work if possible before just finding out how it falls short. One of those things we learn in philosophy early on because it's the only way to truly understand anything. The idea is to get to the truth, not just believe that we have it. And I may not continue it any further, but it's a nice start. Well, one person made it in here that I can see. So just a random test to see what's going on. I think the topologies on this platform are basically controlled and closed to the point that some little group of social engineers decides all that and then lets you think whatever you want. You can believe you have 1,000 views from people that were able to randomly and by their own fates and by their own inclinations find you or what you have to say. Or you can believe the more likely truth, which is that it's totally controlled in order to bottleneck or facilitate the flow of information the way propagandists want it. I tend to think it's the latter, simply because power has not shown itself to have any other disposition throughout human history. Why should it start now? Especially when so much more is at stake. So many exponentiating forces are being deployed through technology. The stakes are ever higher if they get caught or dethroned, those who hold power. And it's working. It's working so far. It's always been working. And no one's waking up where it counts. And before they wake up, no doubt, they're going to make changes in the gulag to prevent that from becoming catastrophic. And they'll say it was to protect the inhabitants of the gulag from a catastrophe. And they'll move complacently and compliantly on their way to the slaughter, which will be necessary for their own good, i.e., for the good of the controllers of the gulag. Ignacio, if you're there, I can't see any comments from you apparently. And if you're there, do some action like thumb it up so I can see that you're there and I can actually hear me. They might hide that. You might hit a thumb up. Yeah, you're there and you hear me apparently, or a bot, or a someone else or something. They can actually put, Ignacio, if you're there, if they want, and if they think that I won't catch them or someone won't catch them, they can put any number of visible spectators of their own creation, as long as they can be sure that they won't be detected as mirror images. If I'm actually in contact with the person in some other way, they can't do it as well. So this whole system relies on the a certain kind of inefficiency of electronics communication, because long distance electronics communication with strangers is a perfect place for them to operate in because there's so much plausible deniability. Wonder why there's no place for people to comment. It's very strange. Am I missing something? Huh. It's odd. They don't allow direct communication during a live stream. That's odd. I probably have to pay for it and then still get censored. I don't see any place for it. Right, Ignacio, if you're still there, give a thumbs down so that it will go, so that the thumb up will go away. Hmm. It's unlikely that they have any actual human agents involved in my situation right now because of reshuffling that they're doing behind the scenes. They're getting prepared for something, some type of cull. They can get people to act like complacent prisoners under open air house arrest, basically, in some cities. And that just shows that this is the surface. So what have they been doing behind the scenes with social credit score type? Um, they're doing a social credit score type of retooling of all office space workplaces involving social distancing rules, so that they have both an excuse to constantly watch everybody for their own safety, and also the means to watch them for reasons that have nothing to do with their own safety. They get best of both worlds. The perfect excuse to act as a cover for doing anything they want. Usually we don't let people get away with that whenever it harms people, but in their case, they're the experts. Also, they run the show because they control the money supply. So how are you gonna stop them from doing what they want to do when they always get paid first every time the printing presses roll out new hundreds? So basically, that's how it's been for the last 115 years or so. And those with the most guns and the most powerful technology at their disposal are the ones happiest with it. So I don't see it changing. One president got murdered in public over trying to change it, and he was probably one of the best specimens of human being that ever entered that office. And then, of course, as soon as he died, who did they fill the office with next? Some crypto Jew named Lyndon Baines Johnson, whose whole purpose was social engineering the Great Society and the ideas of I want to say communist, but it's such a abused word. Basically, social engineering is the goal. Whatever the name of the implementation, cultural or political, that they use, is to control individuals and to bypass the restrictions on influence that have been in place since, you know, kings existed and were not allowed to walk in your house whenever they wanted. So these people are still the same, the Crown Corporation and the Vatican. Their interest is still power, the same power that they've held for thousands of years, and they're not going to let go of. And they co-opted the entire scientific and industrial revolution for that purpose. So there's no reason to believe that it's going to stop or that it's going to be changed or go away. They're going to reinforce it. If I were evil and I had power, that's what I do. I just reinforce it. What the hell else am I going to do? Get this far and then just hang it up in the hope that I'll be forgiven? Not likely. You can be forgiven for cutting someone off on the road, maybe on purpose or by accident, as long as no one's hurt, but you can't be forgiven for frazzle drip, flaying children's faces off and for whatever reason. I don't even know why they put the word participants on here. How can you participate when all you can do is watch? You can't interact, comment, or do you, if you know of any way to change this, Ignacio, thumb up for me so I can know that you know. If you don't, just thumb up and thumb back down. That'll be no. Yes will be leaving a 1. No will be, oh, he's not in the room, so he can't do it. Now, it's possible that you're in the room and they blocked my ability to see that you're in the room or that you actually left. There's a 1, even though you're not in the room. So you know a way, and we got to leave here to do it. Okay. Ending stream.